this is Nnena.
And I'm Ngozi,
And welcome back to our channel, Ejima. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about
the word settling.
Okay, so this word is like a buzzword these days. You know, there's buzzwords, there's
feminism, feminism,
high value, modern women, submission.
Yeah, submission is a big one.
So I feel like in the top buzzwords is settling. And I always keep saying I really despise this word settling. I feel like it's derogatory. I think it's delusional in a sense, right? Because the reality is that everyone is going to settle in some type of way. Okay, let me be clear. Just because I despise this word, I despise the way people are using this word.
They're not using it correctly.
They're not using it in the correct context.
They use it like in a negative.
Thank you. It's always a negative connotation.
Like, I'm just gonna end up settling. I don't want to settle for that.
I don't want to settle. Basically, we really want to dive into what is really settling. Are we delusional when it comes to being realistic with our dating standards and expectations versus settling? I think settling is when you are in a position where you have a lot going on for yourself and like you're literally dealing with someone who has nothing to offer you. Not security, not protection, finances.
I'm looking for the definition. If I'm looking down, I'm looking for the definition of settling.
Okay, I'm looking at, when I look at settling, I mean like someone that literally is lacking like in multiple areas. Like, let's say for example, I'll give myself, right? I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. We're all striving towards perfection. But settling to me, I think people really look at it just in a monetary value. And I don't think it's just about money, because even if I dated a man that makes less than me, I don't necessarily that makes settling. I think settling would be more of like, I want a man who's really God-fearing and he's gonna raise my family in Christ-like, and then I go date a guy who is agnostic
or
atheist. You get what I'm saying? That's totally different from what I really want in a man. Or I want a man who is let's bring aesthetics into it. You know, people don't like to talk. Let's be real. A lot of y'all young girls, y'all be getting on my nerves. All my friends know they get on my nerves. I am 6'2", and I legit date people shorter than the average girl. These y'all little girls are 5'6", 5'5", 5'7", and all y'all want a man 6 foot plus. It's ridiculous. It's obnoxious. Who am I supposed to date if all y'all keep stealing my men? Leave my men alone. Leave them alone.
5'6", you can manage.
There's no reason why a man at least say I want a man my height a couple inches taller. You're 5'6". Why can't you date a guy that's 5'9"? Or 5'8", even with heels. You guys are it's just ridiculous. But anyway, so I think settling is like, for example, for some girls want a man that's 6 foot, and you're 5'6", and you get a man that's 5'3". I feel like in a way that's settling because he's really much shorter than you. You know, it's significant. Like that's not even something you want. But this whole settling idea of like, if you deal with someone that's average, you're settling. I think that's not settling. That's being realistic and reasonable. I don't think that's settling. I think settling is really when a lot of the core values you want in a partner, as far as maybe finances, how he treats you, how he respects you, literally like, this guy's like a bum sitting in your house, and you're just dealing with him because you feel like you can't get no better. That's settling.
Settle, like, it's the number one definition, like to place as in to stay, right? When you think about the idea of settling, there's so many definitions here, but I'm thinking about in terms of the concept relationships. One that's kind of related is like to adjust differences or accounts, or to come to a decision used with or on upon, or to conclude an agreement. So when it comes to the concept of dating,
to conclude an agreement. No, these are law. I feel like,
but I'm saying,
when it comes to
when it comes to an idea of think of settling, basically, some women use the word settling as in like not getting what they want to deserve. But settling is just coming to a decision, coming to an agreement. Right. It's like you're basically, to me, I look at settling like compromising. Because like I said, at the end of the day, everyone wants the best deal. Everybody wants the biggest bang for their buck. That's the reality. But in real life, when it comes to relationships, everything is about compromise. And it's about the things that are not that important. You know, also too. But I think that when it becomes an issue when it comes to this word settling, because I feel like we're tying it into like we're reacting to one of Kevin Samuels' most recent videos. I can't remember the title of it. What is it called?
It's How Do You Want Your Man to Cheat?
Yeah, how do you want your man to cheat? And you know the example, the lady was 37, 2 kids, not married, had the chest tattoo. So basically she said that basically she wouldn't want to settle. And the idea is that a lot of women...
And then she ranked herself as an average person, but she said she doesn't want an average man.
And this is where the issue comes, is that a lot of women have been deceived to think that dating an average man is settling. But it's like most people are average, period, man or woman. There's nothing wrong with this idea that a lot of people need to stop making average seem as if it's like, like it's abhorrent and it's so disgusting.
Most of us are average. Well, I'm average, but I'm saying most people
we live average lives.
Yeah.
Period. Even if you don't think you look average, you live an average life.
Right.
I know one of the videos, I had to follow my friend Kevin Sanders talking about how a lot of women, what would really help, he feels like what would help them is to really live below their means and like stop living this like exorbitant lifestyle. Because I feel like a lot of that lifestyle is what kind of makes these women feel as if like
makes us delusional.
They're above what they really are.
Because the point she kept referencing to in the video was that I see regular women with millionaires all the time. I'm looking at her like, where?
Right.
And that concept goes, if you watch our video, one of our videos I'll link it here, we talked about the defining decade, that we love that book. And there's a term, I'm going to put the term, I can't remember, it's a very like complex term you don't use often. And it's about when you see things happening. I know. Well,
what is it called? It's called, there's something,
when you keep seeing things like, oh, Halle Berry had a child at this age. Like, let's say you see these women having kids at 45, oh, Tamron Hall had a child at 41. And you start thinking that's normal. But those are outliers. Like, just because you're seeing those terms, just because you see those situations, doesn't mean the average woman has her first kid in her 40s. You get it? But the media keeps throwing that in our face, right?
So you think that's
so we start
normal,
trying to think,
and we start raising our standard.
Thank you. Well, other day I had a woman, I was talking to, she was in her 40s, no children, not married, still looking to get married. Well, women can have a child in her 40s. I said, I know that, but that's not normal. The average child is not designed to start procreating in her 40s.
Or average woman.
Average woman is not designed like that. I'm not saying it's impossible. Many women have their last kids in their 40s. But you're telling me as if that's normal. That's not normal. Just because we see women doing it doesn't mean that that's how the body goes through. Exactly. You don't know the way they suffered. You don't know the money they've spent. You don't know if they even got a surrogate. You don't know that. So because you're seeing that, you start thinking, hey, no pressure. I'm 30. I'm a baby.
For the most part, I'm not telling no one to just go and get nothing that they want, but you also have to be realistic with what you want and why you want it. That's a big factor when it comes down to relationships. Like I said, because the guy I'm going to eventually be with, he's going to be selling with me. Because I'm not perfect. Just make things that he wants, even though I'm,
like
cute.
That mouth.
Like
that smart mouth.
Yeah, like I know that. You know what I mean? It's not just based on looks, but it's like, we need to... I'm not going to have, as perfect as everyone thinks they are, I'm not going to have 100% of what he wants. I'm not going to be that model.
Like maybe you're a little overweight and insecure and he really wants a woman that's slim.
Right. Like,
but he's going to take it for that because he loves you.
Yeah, you're going to have to bypass my personality, pass the personality, what am I going to say? Things that, my negative traits, because everyone has them. Like, so the point I'm making is that, like, settling to me is not bad.
Yeah, but because let's not get the men too excited because they'll be, this is refreshing. I love this. Let's keep it real. You can settle. There's something such as settling. Let me give you an example.
But I feel like what a lot of women refer to as settling.
Let me give you an example. This is what I consider settling, right? For example, you know the situation, right? Let's say, like, whatever, like in January, right? I was about to give this certain person a chance. I was like, Nnena, you're getting older. He's a nice guy. Just settle down with him. Nice is not enough, okay? I look back and I said, God bless me in that situation, and he started acting stupid. Okay, he's nice, right? He's shorter than me. Fine. I'm used to guys being shorter than me, like 5'11", shorter than me. He's feminine. I don't want a feminine man. Terrible communication. Family issues. Can't lead. Disorganized. Like, there's so many negative things. I look at him like, Nnena, if you gave him a chance, I would never be happy with him. I wouldn't be happy. It'd just be like, nah, you're getting older. At least, only thing I could promise you is that he would never cheat on me. I'll even probably cheat on him. If it's someone that's going to be cheating, like just call a spade, he would never cheat on me. I feel like I wouldn't have to, some of these guys, these guys in the streets, I wouldn't have to worry about, oh, he traveled, what is he doing? This guy can't even open his mouth to talk to a woman that I'm talking about. But whenever they look back to it, if I gave him a chance, I'll be settling. Facts.
And why would you call it settling? Because you feel like you can get better?
I call it settling because there's so many things about him that I know I wouldn't be happy with.
So let's say right now, let's turn the script, because you're doing it based on what he is, but how about if you have those same exact traits according to him? You have those same seven negative things you listed. He could list seven negative things.
No, he can list negative things, but I don't think it's as much as I can list about him.
But I'm saying there are women who have the amount. So those women end up with him. Are they settling?
No, because it's equal. They both take give and take. But I'm not perfect. Trust me. I know there's things about me I work on every day. Like, I believe in prayer and therapy. But I don't think that the amount of things I can list about him, he can list about me at all. I'm not worried about the superficial things that a lot of girls are worried about. To be honest, like height, I'm telling you, the average guy I'm dealing with is like 5'11". Like, I'm not worried about height. I'm not really worried about... I like money. Let's be real. But, like, I always tell y'all, I don't make that much that a man can't make more than me. You get what I'm saying? I'm not making 250K. I'm not making even 6 figures. So it's easy for me to meet a man that's gonna make around what I make, or even if it's a little lower, we'll be able to manage it. You get what I'm saying? I really empathize for a lot of the high earning women. I can't imagine being a woman making 300K or 250K. I know that would complicate my dating, because it's like, how can I make so much money? I'm making 300K and then this guy makes 70. It's not even. It's not balanced, and he's gonna tell me, "Oh, you spend too much. Why you want to go to Dubai? Why you want to buy Hermes? Why do you want to buy Ferragamo?
Why your value?
I don't want someone looking at me like I'm materialistic, whatever." So that's the point I'm trying to make. But I definitely do feel like if me and him would have worked out, he was acting silly as hell. But I'm saying if we were to really work out, I definitely think I'll be settling. But I don't know if necessarily I would not be happy. Do you get the point I'm making? I don't feel like settling translates to unhappiness. And I think that's the narrative that's going out, that if you settle, you won't be happy. Because people date people in their league. People marry up. People do hypergamy and they're still not happy. Do you get it? So the notion that if you settle, you can't have a healthy relationship or be happy, I think that people try to correlate the two, and I don't think they're necessarily correlated.
So do you think that the resistance to the idea of settling, the way a lot of women use it today, is the reason why a lot of women are single? Like, if you think that they would...
I'm better off alone.
Right.
Yeah, because, you can't blame... people have been through a lot. I don't know everyone's experience. I know what I've been through. And sometimes there's a type of men you deal with that is better not to have a man. There's a type of man that you'll date and expect that you're lonelier even with that man. You feel emptier even with that man in your life. You feel emptier than you did when you did. So let's not make it seem like I'm all about I need a man, I want a man, I believe in marriage, I want a husband, I need a man, I need a man, I need a man. I'm not one of these women that are like, I can do bad all by myself. I don't believe in that narrative. I think it's toxic. But there is a moment that you're better off by yourself, dealing with a certain type of men. So I think that because a lot of women have in their mind that, like, if I can't get this, I'd rather get nothing.
So what's the difference?
It's all or nothing.
All right, so then what's the difference between settling and having low standards?
It's not comparable. Settling in the concept we're using is compromising and like
but I'm saying
looking past things.
But I'm saying, how do you know the difference? Like I said, people are using the term incorrectly. So how do you know the difference?
Low standards means that you take anything. You don't have self-respect. You don't have self-regard. Like, you literally can't even set boundaries. Anything goes. Any man that says, nah, any guy that's like, yeah, you looking good, ma, but like, you don't have self-esteem. Like, literally, like, you let anything...
It has to be related to self-esteem?
I think so. To have low standards. I think if you have low standards, you also have low self-esteem. Like, you don't have any... And I think the issue is that we're dealing with these extremes nowadays in society. Mm-hmm. There's women that are undervaluing themselves and women that are overvaluing themselves. It's like, where is the middle ground? Mm-hmm. I feel like the women you see to extreme, either a woman that you just be like, you could do so much better. Like, look at you and look at him. Ugh. But then there's women that are like, yeah, I'm an 8 and you're like a 4. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like...
Which one do you think there's more of? The undervaluing or the overvaluing?
I think they're probably about the same.
Just the overvaluing gets
more attention. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think that's the issue with Mr. Samuels, is that like his platform really, and I know people might come for me in the comments, I don't think a lot of the women he talks to represents the average woman. I don't. I don't think a lot of the content he talks about represents. I think.
So you think there's a certain group of people just call into him?
Yes, I think it's a bit of delusional people. Like, I don't think.
We refuse to believe that that's the average.
Because the stuff that be going on, I'm embarrassed to be a woman. Mm-hmm. The stuff I'm hearing is because I see women out here. We see women in our social group, in our social class, and we see them dating men that will be considered settling all the time. Right. We see women going to other countries. We see women dating men that make half their salary. We see it all the time, and they're doing it cheesing. I got my man, look at my man next to me. I got my man, y'all single, ha ha. Like, they're doing it cheesing. So I don't think that Mr. Samuels, I don't think the women he brings out are an accurate representation of the typical modern woman. Mm-hmm. I think that they're a bit delusional. I think they're extreme, and I think that's why they go so viral. That's why they get so much attention, because it's
and
like
that's insanity. Why they're calling in, because they're so against what he's saying, because the
typical woman's not going to call him.
Right.
The typical modern woman's not going to call. He's lying. For what? She's married and happy.
Right.
She's in a successful relationship. She's thriving.
Those extremes watch him and they're like, wow.
You telling me I don't deserve a millionaire and I make $20,000? Right. Who the hell are you to tell me that? Do you see how bad I am with my chest tattoo? Do you see how cute I am? You get what I'm saying? Like, they feel a type of way. They're very defensive, but the typical modern woman is enjoying her family. Right. She's cooking dinner. She's at the gym. Like, she doesn't even have time to be calling Mr. Samuels. She doesn't have that time. So I feel like the women that he gets out there to represent us, specifically black women,
that he gets or that that follow him.
Whatever, that follow him or call in. We got to remember, Mrs. Samuel's platform is primarily men. It's not a woman's platform. You get what I'm saying? It's a man's platform. So we still are a minority when it comes to how many women are even watching his content.
You think so, though?
Yes, it's a minority. He could open his analytics one day. It's not 50-50. It's nothing close.
More men, for sure.
Yes, maybe like a 70-30, a 75-25. His platform is a male-dominated platform.
Only less women call him most of the time.
And that's the thing. But how many women even watch him? You get what I'm saying? So it's only the women that are we're the minority that are watching him, the women that watch him, and then he has a few that only call in. It's like, it's skewed. I feel like it's not an accurate representation. That's just facts.
So would you say overall, I know we kind of touched on this, you think that modern women are overrating themselves in the marketplace when it comes to dating?
The delusional women I call him are.
But you know, what I would say is that I think what he's even opened my eyes to a lot is that a lot of women, I noticed it, especially being in our community, you know, like being Nigerian-American, a lot of women rank themselves on the things that men also rank themselves on, like based on like career achievements, how much money they're making. And I remember I had my one friend, when we started school, whatever, and she would be saying something like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you know, men don't really care about this type of stuff. Mind you, this is before Kim Samuels was out here.
Not all men, say most men
don't really care about that
men
stuff.
that care.
And she'd be like, oh, well, yeah. And now that we talk about it, she also watches him too. She's like, yeah, I remember you used to say those things. And I'd be like, back then, I was not watching no Manosphere, no Mr. Samuels, nothing. But it's like, I know in my mind, based on what I saw and what I would see around my cousins and the women that they date, like, yeah, those things are nice, those are great, but it's more for yourself and your family. Like, a lot of men, like, they'll be willing to look past all those things.
You know what's funny, though? I'm going to disagree with you. Because even recently, people have been media and things that literally, a guy recently told me he can't date a woman that doesn't make 6 figures. I've had a guy tell me he wants only a medical doctor. I've had a guy that I think that the narrative that Mrs. Samuels pushed out that men don't care about what you have, especially in such a, do you know gas prices right now? Especially in such an economically unstable environment, I think men definitely care about what a woman does and the money she makes. They may not care. You don't need to have a PhD.
Right.
You get to say, I'm a PhD. You don't need to have a PhD to make good money. But I really denounce.
This is where we get.
I denounce that narrative that men don't care about what a woman has. This is where we get to disclaimer. I don't buy that.
That's average men care. The point maker is that because a lot of women with high value men don't care.
But the average man is average.
Exactly. So
and
most men do care.
Average men.
Right. So most men do care.
Most men. This America life is too hard. There's too many bills. One salary is not enough. Men care about a woman's salary. I'll tell you that for free. They're looking to do 50-50. Would you rather do 50-50 with a woman making 100K or 20K?
Right.
Would you rather do 50-50 with a woman making 75?
50-50 not equal
or 220.
If they're not making the same amount.
Okay? Like, so saying, you could, that's the argument when he says, and I guess his niche is high value. So he's really talking about high value men may not care. That makes sense. But allegedly, one of these guys I talked to recently is high value. And he was still saying his wife makes 6 figures. And I'm like,
I never heard that before.
He claimed, that's why I was like, I'm thinking in my mind, you don't make money. Because for you to really be taught, like,
no, but it makes sense because he wants more of his money. That's what men don't understand. That if you're paying all these bills, you have less of your money. So if you're with a woman who's making more, you also get to keep more of your money. So that it kind of does make sense. Like, I just feel like I've never heard someone outright that actually.
He said it because you think I'm lying. He said his wife. I'd never heard. He said he wants a woman that makes 6 figures. Or even if it's not 6 figures, it has to be very close, like in the 80s, 90s. He said the woman has
what's
to.
What's the rationale?
He said he don't want a woman that's not doing anything. I'm like, but doesn't mean she's not doing anything. Like, I was kind of, literally, we were arguing back and forth. I was like, just because she doesn't make 6 figures, you could make 50K and be doing something.
Doing a lot.
Like, I couldn't understand his bizarre.
Value.
So to me, I just come to the conclusion that he don't have money. He don't really have money. He's fronting to sound like he has more money than what he really has. Because to say you want a wife that makes at least 6 figures, I never heard that.
It's funny that it wasn't just past Sunday when I was leaving church, some guy came up to me or whatever. And he was talking, he said he's going to Nigeria. I'm like, oh, you going to see a fiance or your wife over there? You about to bring her to America?
Why you have to bring that up? See a smart mouth?
So he was like, no, I can't marry a woman in Nigeria. It's too stressful. I don't want someone that can't help me in America, can't help me pay bills. And I'm like, yeah, y'all men actually opening your eyes now, understanding that. Because I always thought that whole concept is like, I understand why men do it. They have other reasons besides like money. Because women control. They're more submissive until they start making money. That's the topic. We'll have another video on that one day. But it's like, it's like to me going to get a child. Like you're dealing with a woman, she can't bring nothing financially to the table, and you're an average man. Like it's stressful. I can imagine having to buy a woman a car, having to pay her bills, having to send money back to her family. It would age you.
It would give you blood pressure.
It would age you. I've seen it. It would age you having to send money back to her family. Everything she does, you don't want to have to bring out money. Like I understand men want that submissive, but it comes at a cost. Are you willing to pay that price? You know what I mean? Like it's a lot.
And then you want your woman to look good, right? So my thing is that like you a man, you bring your woman from another country, and she don't have much. It's like, do you know how expensive being a woman is? I make a decent salary. I can barely take care of myself. I don't know what man is gonna be able to sit me home and take care of me. He's gonna have to be 250. He has to be a high earner. Like I don't know the type of man that's gonna be able to pay for my hair, pay for my nails, pay for my clothing.
I have my books lined up that I don't have enough time to read.
I'm ready. I am ready.
The issues in America is hard.
It's hard.
It's too expensive.
And being a woman and being a cute woman, being on point.
It's a lot. But I feel like I read that when I watched that video, I was like, wow, because it was like people like he referred to it like average at best 2.0. Like that's what people are talking about that part of his live last week, I believe. And like I felt for the woman, I resonated with her. You know, she's like a nice woman. She was kind of taking it personally, but I just felt like she sounded a little crazy. And I'm like, if these women out here sounding like this, like we have to do better. Like this is bad. Like no one is God, right? No one can tell you what you can and can't get. We're talking about the likelihood.
And that was the example that he gave. Like someone with a 2.0, right? They can graduate. Do they deserve to go to Harvard?
Right.
No. But there's few cases we know these rich people's kids. I don't know if they have a 2.0, but they may have that 4.0 you need, and they wiggle their way in because their fathers send checks.
Right.
You know, they're on the board, they're on this. But how? That's not the typical. To get into Harvard, you have to be highly competitive.
Right.
It's the same way. Like if you want a certain type of man,
you have to be
highly competitive. There's nothing wrong wanting that. Ask me right now, Nnena. Do you want a man that makes 70 or a man that makes 250? Of course, 250. But I know most likely I'm not gonna get it.
And it comes at a cost.
I'm not waiting for a man who makes 250. Do you get what I'm saying? I might be 40 before I get that.
Right.
I might be 50. I want to start having children soon. You get what I'm saying? So, but nothing's wrong with wanting that.
I think I'm thinking about that term. Isn't that availability heuristic?
Yes, availability heuristic. Let's look it up real quick.
My
girl got the vocabulary. I had to download Merriam-Webster, y'all, because I'm trying to improve my vocabulary, and I'm always coming upon words. I'm like, what does that mean?
I need to start reading more.
I was thinking about that.
Look, availability heuristic describes a tendency to use information that comes to mind quickly and easily when making decisions about the future. What's the example of prioritizing? The availability heuristic works by prioritizing infrequent events based on recency and vividness. For example, plane crashes can make people afraid of flying. However, the likelihood of dying in a car accident is far more higher than dying as a passenger on an airplane. So that's the idea. You see a few people doing, you feel like that's the average because that's what you can think of. Those are the most recent experiences, but you don't realize like this is not norm.
Right.
This is just an extreme cases of women, or people doing these things, but you feel it like social media. Everyone's driving a Benz. Everyone's an influencer. Everyone's making 6 figures. That's what everyone believes. Everyone's making 6 figures. When you go in the real world, they're not. When you look at the numbers, they're not numbers.
Especially numbering down south and like. The way some people, like, a family member, like, you don't realize that it's your environment that shapes your mind. When I moved down south, I was around, like, other family members who weren't as well off as my family in up north. Your girl was like, they looked at me like I was a god. I'm like, Nnena, you make this much? Not 6 figures old. Like, the salary that my cousins in Jersey are clowning me about. Nnena, you single? No kids? Girl, you balling. What you do with your money? What you do with this?
Pay the tax man?
You be traveling, blah, blah, blah. Like the way they viewed me, I couldn't believe it. But look at the environment had changed. You're living in a place where a 1-bedroom is $400. You get what I'm saying? They're living in an environment where things are so affordable. So if they took my salary and moved it to where they live,
and the environment's not about the cost of living. People around them are not making that.
Yeah.
So they don't see that.
People don't even work.
But if you're around a bunch of people in your social circle, everyone is making 6 figures. You're not going to think 6 figures is a lot of money like that.
But it still is.
Right. But it's because you have that natural bias because it's
availability heuristic.
Availability heuristic. The people around you are easily making that. So to you, it's almost like a norm for someone to make 6 figures. Same way, even with height, I don't realize how tall I am sometimes. Because even growing up, all my friends, I usually have tall friends, and all my cousins are kind of on the taller side. So like, it's only when you go out and people looking at your feet. Wow, you wearing sneakers?
You know, like
you wearing sandals?
And I just be like, nowadays when people do it, I'm just like, it's crazy because I'm not even with Ngozi. So imagine me and Ngozi in the streets.
Like I don't realize 6 6 foot is very tall for a woman.
It's tall for men.
Right. So I never looked at myself. Even since then, I don't really look at myself as being that tall.
Right.
Like to me, it's like my normal, but it's like people are not my height. The average, if I go based on the people around me, I won't feel like I'm that tall. It's ability heuristic. But when you really go in the real world, you see I go out in crowds. Like this one girl when she was tall, like these girls out like they're like to my breast. Like legit, they're so small. I'm like, wow, like I'm a big, and then I'm a big, like I'm big. Like these, like I need to do something.
And to add it, we'll go and wear heels.
Right, and small girls are wearing sandals. So it's like everything is
Sneakers.
about your mindset and your environment. It's very important. So I feel like sometimes like I don't blame these women because I feel like sometimes maybe it's where they're coming from that affects their mentality. Like
what
they're maybe the first one in their family to went to school, so that's why I'm a PhD. It's like a big deal to them because maybe like they work so hard for that.
Where we come from, going to school is
not a big deal. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a reason why people think and behave the way they do. You have to try and meet people where they are. That's what they say in therapy, and I think that's such a great way to even round this off. We have to really try and meet people where they are because people are coming from different places.
Right,
We have different backgrounds, different world views. We look at things differently. So I'm not gonna. I don't like necessarily calling people delusional, even though I really feel like it's part of delusions. But it's like you have to understand where people are coming from. Lack of exposure, not really understand. So Kevin Samuels always asks, how do people make this much salad? And a lot of people don't know. Like I know these numbers, but a lot of people don't know these numbers. They're just going based off what they see Instagram. So you would think, okay, maybe 30% of men make this amount of money. This because everyone is flexing. But when stuff hits the fan, like we're average people. Most of us are average. And there's nothing wrong with average. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the reality of the world. Average people are still living amazing lives. Doing great things, traveling, seeing the world. Most people go to Europe and stuff. There's average people doing these things.
Save up their money once
Right. They're not rich people. They're not. Rich people do it too on another level.
Rich people, and they in those resorts, you won't even see them.
Right, but these are not the people we're mixing with are not rich people.
Right.
They're everyday people, and they're living good lives. They good. So we kind of can't get caught up with all of this. But let us know, y'all. How do y'all feel about the term?
Video, but we had to do it.
Right. How do y'all feel about the term settling?
In the comment section, this is what I need y'all to do. Settling and put a definition.
All right. What is settling to you? If you had to put it, I'm settling for this. Or what would be settling to in a relationship, men and women? Because men settle too. It's not just a woman thing. We're speaking as a woman perspective because we're women.
Men really settle?
Men do settle. Trust me. I've
seen
seen with my eyes.
I think men get what they want.
I've seen with my eyes. I've seen with my eyes these men settling. I'm like, wow. Like, I don't know, but let us know how you feel about this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel. Like, come on now. If you've been watching this far, you might as well. Like, you like the content, stop being stingy. Like, just subscribe, okay? And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.